Well, good morning. It is Friday. It kind of feels like
Yes.
Saturday, right? Right, Dennis. Good morning, Dennis, Vicky, and Jenny. Friday and
Woohoo!
a pretty day. I don't think it's going to be windy, right? Much. I haven't looked.
I don't know about the wind, but the sun is out.
Yeah. So it might finally be spring, maybe.
It's been feeling like spring.
Yeah.
We've had several nice days.
It feels like it ought to be spring, anyhow. So I didn't read too much in it, but I saw a little blurb about something about tornadoes in Oklahoma. So maybe they got
I
some
did not
weather.
see that.
Someone marked themselves safe from the tornadoes in central
Whoa.
Oklahoma.
Hmm.
So
Better look into that. I got
yeah,
family out there.
yeah. So yeah.
Who
Compared
I
to that,
who I did not hear from. So now,
yeah, they didn't mark themselves as safe.
no.
Central Oklahoma is what it said.
Huh.
So compared to that, I mean, it's nice.
Yes.
Got a youth retreat happening this weekend, and I was shocked
Good.
that you signed up to help. You,
Yeah.
you were shocked too.
I am just as shocked.
What are you gonna say? Gonna move some rocks this weekend? Getting ready to.
I am getting ready to move forward on my project.
All right.
Don't know if I have more rocks to move.
Okay.
Maybe one or two.
I don't know if you guys saw Shawshank Redemption, but that was like his life for a few years digging out the
For
cave.
many years, yes.
Oh, did they? Okay, so maybe that's right. So the spring storms rode
All right.
through Texas and hit Oklahoma. Texas is the cul-de-sac of Tornado Alley. Don't know if you knew that.
Had not heard of it expressed that way, but
At least that's my that's my term. So funny thing, tornadoes. If you grew up in Texas and where we were, Dennis and I grew up next towns over, and there was one time we were at school. My youngest sister was 2 years older, so I don't know if you guys remember this tornado drills. Did they have those where you grew up?
no.
Really? Man, you have not lived. So did they have
We had
Heard-
fire drills.
fire drills? Well, okay. So we had tornado drills, and our tornado drills. This is so funny. So they would, you would go out into the hallway and put your back up against the wall, and then you would duck down. The old adage: you put your head between your legs and kiss your tail goodbye. So it was kind of like that. Well, we had, the alarm went off one day, and we were so used to having drills, we didn't think anything. We just went out and sat down. And my sister Mary was right across the hall from me. She was, 2 grades up, so they were over there. And we looked, and they had opened the doors at the end of the hallway, and it was black outside. This is in the middle of the day.
Mm.
It was black, like midnight. And we realized, oh, and we could hear the sirens going off outside, not just the school, but the tornado sirens going off outside. And we only lived 7 houses down from the school. And mom was there by herself, and we were so worried, I hope mom's okay. And so for the rest of that day, because we knew there was a tornado close. I don't know if you knew that when the sirens went off, there's a tornado in the area, one's been sighted. And so we were so worried about mom. And so that day we both ran home, burst through the doors. Mom, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, why? We said, well, there was a tornado today. And she goes, there was.
It's interesting how isolated tornadoes can be.
And just how oblivious my mom was most of the time. So it is. It can. A tornado can demolish one house, and you're missing a shingle on the next one.
Yeah. Well, when was it, like 20 years ago? A tornado touched down in Alamogordo.
Not that long ago, actually, out on the White Sands area.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, I remember that. Here's my theory, and I've asked people who would know, and they say they've never heard of anything like this, but I'm a trendsetter. So that the air is too thin for tornadoes to exist this high. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Just go with it.
Yeah, I have not had a tornado touchdown up here, but I was down there.
Oh, were you when it happened?
When it happened. I was leaving to come home.
Mm-hmm.
And the the alert had not come out yet, but I stepped outside and it was dark and it was
You,
windy.
you see the clouds churning on the
Well, I
bottom.
mean, it was looking a little ominous. I'm like, I better go home,
Uh-huh.
even though my office isn't a fallout shelter. So I was driving home, and when I got out to Highway 70, it must have touched down real close because I couldn't see anything. The dust was so intense.
Oh,
I just had to stop, and I hope that everybody else on the road did the same thing because
wow.
I couldn't see a headlight, couldn't see anything. And then it passed maybe 20 seconds later, and I could see again. So I started driving, and I drove by trailers that were overturned.
Oh.
Like, my gosh, what just happened? I thought it was just heavy winds. I didn't think tornadoes. We don't get tornadoes around here, right?
Nope.
So anyway, get all the way home, come back to work, found out that we lost the roof on our building and every telephone pole along the road that I used to come home just snapped like a toothpick.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing left.
And
Oh, and right after I left, yes, they did get the alert, and everybody was hiding in the fallout shelter. Yeah, that I just
in your
left.
office, yeah.
Right?
Well, we had a similar thing in downtown Fort Worth. This was around 2000, 99, 2000, somewhere around there. They had a tornado that came through downtown Fort Worth and ripped apart. One of the buildings was had FBI offices in there, and the people apparently they hadn't practiced that drill too much because they had to cordon off about a 3-block area to pick up the classified papers that they should have put in a safe. But anyhow, similar thing. I was living in Grand Prairie, but working at the church in Fort Worth. So it's about 99. And on Tuesday nights was my visitation night. So I left and was driving, and man, it was getting dark and and everything, and hail and stuff like that. When I get there, I find out that I had traveled on the road 360, as Dennis knows that area, 360, coming down to 20. And I don't know the timing of it, but the tornado had come through downtown Fort Worth and crossed right over there. The Johnson & Johnson factory was there, crossed right over. So I either just missed it before or after.
Wow.
And when I get to the church, everybody's there saying, "What are you doing here? You don't need to be out. You need to go back home." I said, "Well, I think I'm safe now. I think the tornado's that way." So, yeah, but
pretty crazy.
But no tornadoes here. What we do have here is what happens after the tornado. All the clutter.
Yeah.
So you wondered how I was going to get there, huh?
We got the clutter.
Yeah. So
at which point we need to unclutter.
That's it. And I don't think it happens as fast in our lives as it does with a tornado. That 20 seconds and then a bunch of clutter everywhere. But it seems like that. And so what we're talking about is that we want to live lives that are uncluttered. And so I just want to dig into a little bit. We've done this a little bit this week, but just to kind of head into it today. Why do you think why is it that we try to pack so much into our lives that we max everything out? I've asked Hillary and I asked Jim. I want to ask you. Why do you think we do that? We try to pack so much in.
Oh, I think there is a tendency to believe that, hey, you only live once.
Mm-hmm.
Live life to the fullest. Don't want to miss out on an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Just that mindset.
You were listening to the message on Sunday, or were you just on the same wavelength? That's both.
I think I was listening because I'd be worried if we were on the same wavelength.
So, yeah, I mean, and it. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but that is hard for me to push back against, isn't it? I mean, that is I don't know a good word to put it. Oh, don't want to appear lazy. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit this Sunday, Dennis. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, um, if somebody isn't doing anything, and of course, our dads were brothers, so we kind of have the same upbringing. If you're doing nothing, you're lazy. So that's part of it for us, Dennis. Is we didn't want to appear lazy, um, but it's hard to to kind of to push back against that, and I'm trying to think when the girls were younger, even it seemed worse. Um, Families would, hey, you want to go do something, and if you said anything like, oh, Saturdays are our family days, they would have looked at you like you're from Mars.
I was thinking about it from a slightly different perspective. If my boys ever came up to me and said, "I'm bored," I'd give them something to do.
Well,
And so they each only said that once.
yeah. My dad owned a store, so
Right. So, I mean, so that was me filling their day suddenly. But maybe there is a concern that if I'm not doing something, I'll be bored.
I'm not sure I've ever been bored in my whole life because I'm just that laid back.
Well, I don't get bored. I mean, there's always something for me to do.
Right. But
Um,
but you and I admire guys like you that work a whole day, work a full day, and then you can go home and still get a few projects done. Um, um,
Sometimes.
I work a whole day, and I am not exaggerating this at all. If I don't have anywhere else to go, if I'm done, I don't care if it's 3 o'clock or 8 o'clock. 10 minutes after getting home. Now my jammies are my sweats, so just so you know. But 10 minutes after getting home, I'm in my jammies. I mean, if you come by, I'm going to show. I'm going to walk to the door with my slippers and sweats. um,
Okay, well, that's not me.
I know that's not you. I admire guys like you that can, that can get some projects done. I mean, I've got. I was driving by the house this morning, going, I should probably clean up that yard. you know.
Yeah, how's your wood splitting coming along?
I haven't had a weekend yet. Um, I I was trying to schedule something with somebody, and this was in March. They were asking me a concealed carry class. They're actually going to do that here on March the 6th.
May.
That's what I mean.
Yep.
That other M
Right.
month, May the 6th. He was asking me in March, and I'm like, let me look. So I finally got a chance to look at my calendar, and I'm like, man, I don't have a free weekend until like, if I do, the third weekend in May. And he's talking to me in March.
Wow.
I know. And so
you need to unclutter your life.
I really do. Yeah. And I hope everybody believes me, because it's true that when I preach a message series like this, um, God's convicting me the whole time before, and then it seems like twice as much, after I preach it, to see if I was being truthful. So it's hard. I talked about that some of it is fear, like you mentioned, the fear of missing out, or the I've never had the fear of being bored, though. I've had the aspiration that's I aspire to be bored someday.
Yeah, I don't think I've been bored either, except at work. I get bored when I'm there.
Oh, I've got
in a meeting.
I have so many things to do here that if I get tired of working on what I'm working on, I got 10 other things I can work on.
Yeah, being bored is not an issue.
But
maybe there is a fear of not getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something to do,
yeah.
And I feel like I ought to be doing it.
Well, let me throw this out there.
Okay.
And you guys chime in for I want to know what you think. Because I think this is underlying for a lot of people, not everybody, but it's underlying for a lot of people that we're afraid. We keep so busy and keep so much clutter in our lives and noise, kind of things happening because we're afraid that if it gets quiet, there are some things that we have to deal with.
Well, that's deep.
What do you think? I know, right? So what do you guys think? Do you think that might be it? Part of it, if that if we get quiet, and here's kind of where I started thinking about this, because I believe, and I did a series a few years ago called Margin, which is similar to this series, but that God works in the margins of our lives. That some people fill their lives with so much stuff because they're afraid God's gonna. Yeah, it is deep. that God's gonna speak to us. Yeah. Live in chaos, no time to dwell. It's almost like this. Here's the way I've been thinking about all the stuff that we have in our lives. Do you guys do this? When you go home, you turn the TV on. Okay, except for this guy, or the music. For you, it might be music. Do you turn music on when you go home?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I know you have it on Thursday mornings when you drive in. We're like, I wonder if Paul's coming. We're boom, 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 boom. Oh, he's here. It's probably Led Zeppelin or something like that, the Bee Gees, or
one or the other.
I okay, squirrel. I don't know if you guys do this. I was by myself. I don't know where this came from, and all of a sudden, what popped into my mind is, "I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you." In the Air Supply, or
it's Air Supply.
Does that ever happen to you? Just like
that happens frequently.
These, just,
not necessarily Air Supply.
Yeah.
But, I get random tunes in my head.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that must be an '80s song. Those are the only songs I know. So anyhow, but you turn the TV on or you turn the music on to have some kind of noise at home, just in the background. You're not watching it. You're not really listening. But some kind of background, because it's almost like we're afraid to just be quiet. You know what I mean?
When the boys were in the house, if it got quiet, then I knew they were up to something.
Yeah,
that's when I did get nervous.
One of Hillary's favorite stories with Hope, when Hope was before we moved here. You're doing stuff and you're like, "Where's Hope?" It's real quiet. Hillary, go check on her. Hillary goes into Hope's room, and Hope had gotten the baby powder. It was a big bottle of baby powder, and she goes, "It's open," and she goes, "Boom," and it goes poof. And she giggles. And she goes, boom, poof. I tell you, when we moved there to come here, you'd move stuff and there's cakes of baby powder everywhere. Get on electronics. Nowadays that is, I guess, kind of the equivalent that we...
That is true. That's a little bit of a distraction because it's so accessible and there's...
Sure. And instead of, because what would happen... We're going to talk about this some on Sunday. What would happen if we just were there? If we just learned to be, just go home and sit. Our heads would explode or something. You know. So I don't know. I think that might be some of it, or that's either why we do it, or at least the result of us keeping everything going and staying so cluttered and busy in our lives. It keeps us from being able to really hear God. What would happen if I just sat and listened to God? Might send me to Africa
or something.
But you have to go to El Paso to prepare for. So let me encourage you that this weekend, as we And this message will kind of, I want to give you some practical things. It's things I've given before. I want to talk about a little bit. Really, so the idea is it's the principle of the Sabbath that God created us to have time where we just rest.
You need to rest.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
To,
We all need to rest.
yeah. And so I'm going to do that actually a little bit later today. This is the calm before the storm.
Oh, bless you.
Did I mention spring is coming? Thank you. But to just rest, to create room, and the title of the message for Sunday is breathing room. To create some room in our lives purposefully, not just wait for it to happen, but create room in our lives where we can just be still, be quiet, and just rest.
All right.
And as I say that, I can just almost, I could just almost imagine you guys online thinking that would be weird. just sit and just. In fact, if you want to conduct a little experiment, are you ready? Find 30 minutes tomorrow to put your phone away. Don't have the radio, the music, or TV on, and just sit down. Don't go to sleep. That's hard.
That's the challenge.
So
right
don't
there.
recline in your chair. Dennis, do you have a recliner? I've got a recliner. So don't recline. Just sit down and just try this as an experiment. And for 30 minutes, do nothing. Just sit there for 30 minutes. I can see you getting uncomfortable already.
No, actually, you know what? I can veg out.
Okay.
When you were talking about having music on in the background or TV on in the background, I really don't do that.
You don't?
If I turn music on, it's because I want to listen to it.
Okay.
And I might be doing something else, but I'm actively listening to the music. Don't really have the TV on in the background. But when the TV's on, it's because I'm trying to watch something.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to be really deliberate. You have to put something in your beta player.
Yeah, something like that. No, but I can sit and veg. Staying awake is the challenge, because once I stop moving, I'm a 1 or a 0. I'm either doing something or I'm asleep.
But by the way, I bought a fan one time that was a 3-speed fan, and I look, and the speeds are low and high, and I'm like, you know what the third speed is?
Off.
Yes. And I'm like, how can it be 3-speed when it's low and high? Well, the third one is off, so that's you only have off and high.
That's right. So, once I stop moving, it's easy for me to fall asleep.
Well, let me just encourage you guys to try that. Just an experiment. If you can't make it 30, try 15 minutes. But I can just imagine you guys getting real uncomfortable with the idea just to sit there. Maybe make it a little easier, especially if you're up here. Sit outside if the wind's not blowing. Sit outside and just don't talk. But just sit outside and just look around for 30 minutes.
All right.
That seems like a long time, even as I say it.
It is. I don't know if I could do it for 30 minutes.
Try 15. Try 15.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we get back together, I'll tell you what my personal best is.
Yeah. So yeah, try that. I Dennis has a nice back porch that he could do that on, but I have a feeling, because this is what would happen if it was me. I would sit out there and say, and so I have to be careful if I do that. I'm going to have to face a certain way so that I don't see the pile of wood that I haven't finished splitting.
I was gonna say, if I sit in my
Don't-
backyard,
don't see
for
the
very
grass,
long, I'm gonna say,
all
man,
the
I gotta
things that I
clean up
need to
this
do.
yard.
Yeah. One thing that I like to do, and I had a thought this morning as I walked out of the house that I need to get my propane tanks filled. So I have a back deck that's covered, and I have a fire table.
Right.
And one of the things that I like to do, evening-ish, is to just sit out there with the fire table. There's something. I was a little bit of a pyromaniac when I was a kid. Dennis knows the stories. In fact, one time he said I got in trouble for that, and I wasn't even there. But to just somehow watching the fire table is really relaxing for me.
Yep.
And I can sit out there with a cup of coffee and in fact, that makes me happy just thinking about it.
I'm looking forward to getting the fire pits going again.
Might be a little bit, unless we get some rain. Yeah.
They don't have the restrictions in place
yet.
I better hurry up.
Oh, well, let me pray for you guys as we send you out, and so we can pray for our kids, the students. We're doing, I think we did it with a men's group. It's the True You, and is the Bible reliable?
Oh yeah.
So we're going to hit that hard. That's 10 sessions.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's excellent.
Yeah, 10 sessions. It's hard to find. You can do the first one, Does God Exist? It's on Right Now Media, and I think it might even be free on Prime. The other ones, you got to rent each episode on Prime for like $3. Or you can rent the 3. You can rent the 10 episodes for about $3 a piece. Or if you want to buy it, you can buy them for $30 for 10. Isn't that crazy? Why would you rent them unless you just wanted to do them separately?
Some people don't want the clutter.
Maybe, yeah, but it's online. So it's just anyhow. Well, let me pray for you. Try that 15 minutes, or I'm going to try 30 minutes. This will be Saturday afternoon, or maybe Saturday evening if I can get my propane tanks filled today. Okay. As I decompress from student retreat. Right. So let me pray for you guys. Lord, thank you for the way that you created us, designed us. Lord, help us to learn how to live according to your design for us. And so, God, would you help us to make the commitment to unclutter some of the things, to get some of the noise out of our lives, Lord, and to make room for you to work and speak to us. And God, even just this weekend, just tomorrow, would you help us to set aside some time, just a little bit of time, and just sit and just be, Lord, and learn how to do that more and more, God, so that you can work and move in our hearts and lives. Thank you for your love for us, Lord, this weekend. I pray that you would speak to us, God, and on Sunday, help us to learn how to do this and how to apply this to our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. Hope you have a great weekend. Yes. Beautiful weather here.
But don't do too much.
I didn't. A great weekend.
Leave some margin.
Yeah, that's it. Create some margin in your life. Give some breathing room. Yeah. And we'll see. I look forward to hearing you'll be here next Friday.
That's the plan.
Okay. I can't ever remember. So when we get to Thursday, I say, I think Paul might be here Friday. I don't know.
Gotta make sure my life is sufficiently uncluttered.
That's it. Yeah. Leave some breathing room. So I'll do this. You do this. We'll kind of debrief next Friday and talk about how that went.
All right.
And then I look forward to hearing from you guys too, to find out how that went. Just our little experiment in creating some breathing room. All right. Well, we'll see you guys. Let me get to the right graphic here. We will see you guys on Sunday, hopefully, and on Monday.